The London Borough of Hackney is expected to undergo a population growth of 40% in the next 20 years, and with it a 25% increase in job demand. Although this trajectory seems promising for Hackney, a significant number of local people continue to face persistent socio-economic inequalities and are disproportionately affected by poverty and unemployment. Every ward in Hackney is among the 10% most deprived in the country, with 47% of children living in low-income households. Some feel the borough is no longer for them, as sustained development and the accompanying onset of gentrification has started pricing out established communities and threatens existing social networks and spaces. This is the story of how estates across Hackney could be developed as pieces of common land, where custodians create civic and community resilience through interdependence and shared cause. With the opportunities that Hackney's projected growth can bring, how can we help steer development in a way that creates stronger and more connected communities? To attempt to answer this question, our story starts in the north of the borough in Clapton. Our think tank focuses on the study area of the Beechholm estate, adjacent to the geographic and historic centre of Clapton. It is rich in community but poor in public services and offers social and spatial opportunities for its growing and youthful population.
Beechholm Estate today. There's a mix of housing on site, from two-storey terraces to 1960s housing blocks. Residents take agency of shared spaces, largely due to poor internal facilities. The estate's only on-site public service is a small community centre that's rarely used, as it requires a council representative to enable access. The estate is located next to a thriving sequence of small private businesses within an old Victorian tramshed mews, but there's no access from the estate. To the east, there is a large green area of Millfields Park. However, physical barriers mean that access is not fluid. The estate is bordered by the very busy Clapton and Leabridge roads, which meet to form an inefficient roundabout and bus depot. By night, there are many dark and under-surveilled spaces, with no spaces to comfortably socialise. Solomon, Palsy, Paul and Tristan are some local residents who told us what they like and dislike about living on the Beechholm estate. Common threads were concerns for safety, a lack of trust in the TRA, a lack of public services and places to socialise, and generally poor building fabric and maintenance across the homes on the estate. As well as interacting with residents during multiple site visits, we broke down the demographics of the estate. The figure that stood out to us most is that 42% of the residents fall into the low-skilled or unemployed social grade category. How can we increase opportunities for residents and cater for both the present and future population of the Beechholm estate?
How can we better connect the new and existing communities of Beechholm and the wider area? Through the establishment and implementation of three things: the Commons, the overarching mechanism that gives residents agency over their homes; the Master Plan, the all-encompassing design strategy that sets out the future vision for the area; and the Forum, a fixed piece of social infrastructure at the heart of the community. A radical system of democratic localism is proposed for the Commons. It encourages a democratic and accountable system of self-governance, collective self-determination among all community members, greater spatial and social connections between communities within and around the Commons, and a robust reinvestment of any income generated from community-owned assets. All residents, businesses and employees of the Commons are called custodians. All custodians have the right to engage in the democratic system that determines how the Commons is governed, managed and developed. The Commons Trust brings together the community organisations that have been established and operate within the Commons, such as the Business Improvement District and Tenants Management Organisation. The Trust is directly responsible for the operation and management of all residential blocks and communal areas in the Commons on behalf of custodians. It also facilitates the process of transforming the site, developing new homes and social infrastructure to meet the present and future needs of the community. Ultimately, it's the custodians who drive the future of the Commons through their engagement with the Commons Trust.
The Commons Master Plan evolves and adapts to the needs of the community through changes that happen over 30 years. The first chapter, Occupy, lays the foundations for a sustainable neighbourhood. Small interventions appear, such as a shared play space for children. Recycling facilities are improved and encourage a sustainable lifestyle. The outdoor cinema shows how existing spaces can be activated. The semi-derelict lockups are replaced by housing. The roundabout is transformed into a peninsula, which liberates land for new housing for the growing population and provides commercial opportunities. The existing community centre is renovated and occupied, and re-establishes its role as a central hub of the Commons.
In transition, the second chapter of the master plan, spatial and social changes bring together all of the communities that occupy the site. The demolition of the L-shaped housing blocks activates the green space in the middle of the commons. Other run-down housing blocks are replaced in phases that actually increase density on site and add around 80 new homes to the commons. Part of the tram sheds is knocked through to become more connected to the residential community. The forum now comprises the existing community centre and a neighbouring warehouse on the site that is retrofitted as a skill-sharing hub.
The chapter Sustain builds resilience among the community, as the Commons Trust is well established and provides community-centred stewardship. All the housing blocks have been phased in, and the new roads better connect to the park. The tram sheds are well maintained and form a direct route straight to the park. The open public space facing the forum is well used by custodians and the wider community alike.
In the final stage of the master plan, custodians are thriving in the commons. The incremental changes made throughout the chapters are now well established and have improved everyday life. The forum is the central hub of the commons and is a lively, engaging space for all members of the Commons and Clapton communities.
The forum is a spatial proposition that sits at the centre of the commons and represents the commons' main aim to connect communities. It will have a range of roles, including functioning as the democratic and operational home for the Commons Trust, a space for leisure and meeting, a space for community events, and a space that fosters opportunities for work and enterprise. The forum is an evolving provision, growing with the commons and wider community over many years. The proposed forum is located within a series of existing workshop buildings. The development provides a link to the High Street to the west, and to the south is a large new hard landscape civic area, animated by weekly markets, large adjustable lighting and community allotments. The forum includes flexible spaces that can expand to suit the nature of the activity inside. This may include a large lecture or debate. Or the spaces can be closed off for privacy, maybe for a barber's training course or a yoga class. The new building also includes a play space, a cafe and a workshop, allowing custodians to learn to create and repair goods. It also provides an on-site laundrette, to ease pressure off the newly developed housing and to encourage a social mixing.
The completed master plan will reintroduce routes and views across the site that haven't existed since the Second World War. Our journey through the Beach Home Commons starts at the roundabout. For many people approaching the site from Hackney, the new transport hub would be the first point they reach. It sits at the heart of Clapton, putting pedestrians and cyclists first. Within the Commons, the forum overlooks the green, serving both custodians and the wider community. The open green space in front hosts markets and other events. Planting is carefully considered to provide shelter, define key routes and reduce air and noise pollution. The forum sits at the heart of the Commons, opening out directly onto the square. Its colonnaded entrance welcomes visitors and provides a place to accumulate, meet and shelter within. Inside, visitors walk through the central space for meeting and eating, arranged around a central domestic-style hearth. The sounds of various activities taking place across the building bleeds into the space, from child's play areas to yoga studios and barbershop chairs to community workshops. Visitors can now walk through the forum to the tram sheds and businesses beyond. Key master plan strategies have now improved the relationship between the forum, tram sheds and the park. The Commons is no longer a barrier to the public park, but an extension of it. Green fingers from the park now reach down into the site along each of the new residential streets. This connection to the park is crucial for the mental and physical well-being of the community, in an area with proportionally higher levels of childhood obesity within Hackney. Many of the new homes overlook the park and the river beyond, and the forum building provides services like community changing rooms, which further encourage the use of the park. It connects the Commons to its surrounding environment, and the beach home custodians to the wider community.
The Beach Home Estate, with its phased development, is an example of how civic and community resilience can be fostered through interdependence and shared cause. It can be replicated across estates throughout the borough of Hackney and eventually Greater London. Please have a look through our interactive manual. It suggests how new and existing communities can be brought together through a process of democratic localism, co-ownership and self-governance. Thank you for watching.